Hi, this is Jazz Obrecht, and welcome to my Talking Guitar podcast. In this episode, Gregg Allman speaks exclusively about his brother Duane, the founder of the Allman Brothers Band. For most of their lives, Duane and Gregg were inseparable. Raised by their widowed mom in Nashville and Daytona Beach, they learned music together and played side by side in several bands. After spending their journeyman days in the Daytona Beach-based House Rockers, they began touring with the Allman Joys, moved to LA to form the Hourglass, and finally hit their stride in 1969 with the formation of the Allman Brothers Band. Just 2.5 years later, Duane was gone, killed in an October 1971 motorcycle crash. 10 years later, while as an editor for Guitar Player magazine, I proposed that we do a cover story celebrating Duane's life. My editor-in-chief, Tom Wheeler, suggested that we make a special issue devoted to Duane. Having so many magazine pages available, I was able to interview several people who knew Duane well, including Dickey Betts from the Allman Brothers, Pete Carr from Hourglass, Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top, Duane's best friend John Hammond, and the Muscle Shoals Rhythm Section. My favorite of these interviews, though, is the one you're about to hear with Duane's younger brother. Gregg called me up on July 6, 1981, and began our conversation. What we're doing is we're writing a cover story on Duane for the October issue.
Yeah, I think that's really nice, man.
Oh, thanks. Everybody I've asked to talk to us about it's been real good about it.
Have you talked to Dickey?
No, he's going to do it tomorrow or the next day. But we talked to the Muscle Shoals guys, and we're going to be doing Eric Clapton and we got Pete Carr.
That's great.
Some of the producers, a whole lot of guys, but I kind of needed to talk to you to fill in the early years.
Okay.
Okay?
Alright.
Now, Duane was a year older than you?
You're in 18 days.
Year and 18 days? Were you the only two kids?
That was it.
And your father died when you were young?
Yes, he died at 49. I was 2, Duane was 3.
Was that an accident?
No. He was shot. He was in the Korean War.
There was a Rolling Stone story that came out on you about 1973.
Well, you can't go by that.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about. I just saw that and I wondered if it was...
I was just kidding you. I wasn't really, but what did it say?
I just wondered if the whole story was accurate or not.
Knowing the Stone, maybe a tenth of it. They probably got our names spelled right. You know, I don't know if you're a real fan of the Rolling Stone, but I'm really not. You know, and, I'm a fan of downbeat guitar player, keyboard player.
All right.
People that know what they're talking about, you know, instead of writing a bunch of politics and stuff.
Yeah. They mentioned that your dad got killed by a hitchhiker.
That's true.
Yes. Were you the only? You were the only two brothers, right? No sisters.
No sisters.
Is your mother still alive?
Yes, she is.
What did anyone in your family play music?
My father sang, but just, you know, not professionally. He sang pretty well.
Did you have any instruments around the house when you were real little?
No. No, we didn't.
What did?
When we started school, we both wanted to get into the high school band. And the high school band was, we went to military school, and we both wanted to play trumpet, and we lost interest in it. And my mother always called it her folly because, you know, back then, you know, $200 for a trumpet, you know, that was quite a bit.
Now, you were raised by your mom?
That's right.
Did she work while you were kids?
Yes, she did. That's why we had to go off to military school.
When did now you began playing guitar first?
Right.
Could you tell me how you got started with that?
Well, we moved from Nashville when I was, it was 1957. I guess I was 11 years old, about to turn 12. No, wait a minute. I was younger than that. Anyway, we moved away from Nashville. I moved to Daytona Beach, Florida. But every summer we would go back and visit my grandmother and stay there, for the summer. Like we really missed Nashville because we grew up there, And she lived in this housing project. And there was a guy across the street. And he had an old bell-tone guitar, which later I think turned into Silvertone, I'm not sure. And one hot summer day, I was sitting on the porch, and I walked over there and asked him if I could pick it up. And he said, sure. The strings were about 1.5 inches off the neck, and one of those bleeders, And so I just got really enchanted with this. And by this time, this was like 1960. And no, this is like 59.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got back home, I thought, well, I'm going to get me one of those guitars. I didn't know which end of it to play, but there's something about it that just really intrigued me. Because he'd sit there and he played Wild Wind Flower and Long Black Veil. I think that's the only 2 songs he knew. He was in very, very little, real country did. Jimmy Bain.
That was his name?
And so I got me a paper route and worked on it from like March of 60 until about the end of school. When school let out. And cleared all of 21 bucks, something like that. And they got me on the office payments, yeah, we pay at the office, right? You know how that goes, huh? And so I rode my bicycle over to Sears, and there's a Silvertone there that I wanted. It was $21.95. And the guy wouldn't trust me for the 95 cents, so I had to go home and borrow it from my mother. And I rode back over the next day and bought it, and started playing it. And I got one of those Mel Bay books,
Mm-hmm.
And just I didn't eat or sleep, didn't do nothing but play that guitar. I was just crazy about it. Learned how to make a bar chord, and that really started.
It's acoustic?
Right. And this friend of mine turned me on to some Jimmy Reed albums, and taught me that lick. And so then my brother, he said, "What do we have here?" So I taught him, well, and then he picked it up real quick. I mean, he was real sharp. And so he quit school.
How old was he then?
Well, I started playing when I was 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I jumped a little time on you there. It's been a while. I started playing when I was 12, and I got my first electric guitar that November 10th, 1960. And it was a Fender Music Master. And it was real easy to play. By then, I'd met other guys that had guitars, that had been playing longer. And just learned more and more, and really got turned on Chuck Berry and Jerry Lee Lewis and Richard Presley and the whole rock and roll thing. And met this black cat named Floyd. And so by this time, Duane, he had to have one. So to keep us from fighting, Mom got him one, right?
Music Master?
No, it was Les Paul Jr., one of those old body was purple, and there's one pickup, one black pickup on the back, and so we started playing together. We really became friends at that time.
Were you like typical brothers before that?
Oh yeah, fight every day.
What did Duane want to be when he was little?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. He didn't like school, but he loved to read. He was always reading something.
What kind of stuff was he into?
Oh, he read books like Papillon, the trilogy. He read all kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just anything he read. The Godfather. I guess it's too late. Excuse me. Just he liked real adventure stories, and fiction, stuff like that.
Was he a good kid?
No, he was a rascal. He was a rascal.
Yeah.
But so we put a band together.
What was the name of this band?
Well, first we joined the band. It was already together. It was called House Rockers and the Untills.
And the Untills?
Yeah, the Untills. The rhythm section, the band was the House Rockers, and the three black singers up front was the Untills.
Were both of you playing guitar?
They only needed one guitar player, so we switched off every other night.
Must have been pretty young back then.
Yeah, this is like 1963. Yeah, I was like, I guess I was a junior in high school, something like that. So anyway, it was summertime of '63, something like that. Anyway, one of those black singers was Floyd, and I watched him because I really dug the singing. See, in the beginning, it was the first band that we had together, that we put together ourselves. It's called the Shufflers, and I played lead guitar, and Duane sang.
Boy, that's a switch.
Yeah. And then after he quit school, he stay home, and he learned it fast.
He played all the time?
All the time.
Did he cop off of records or make it up himself? Or?
Both,
Do you remember his favorite solos or players?
B.B. King. He loved B.B. King. And he dug finally, over the years, he liked all kind of Kenny Burrell. He loved everybody from Chuck Berry to Kenny Burrell. You name it. He dug everybody. But like back then, Johnny Guitar Watson, he liked him. He got into that real old blues stuff. He loved Robert Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
He just loved any kind of guitar playing.
He never had lessons?
No. The only lessons he had was, us sitting around the house, trial and error, and then he had a friend named Jim Shepley.
Shepley?
Right. And I think Shepley was a couple of years older than him, and it started a couple of years, before. And he's the one who turned us on to Jimmy Reed records. And he had a bunch of these hot licks down. I thought, man, this guy is something else. And so he sat with him all the time. Both of them. Before he quit school, they both skip school, shoot pool, play guitars. And he learned a whole lot from Shepley, and that was probably his best friend back then.
Is Shepley still around?
Yeah, he sure is. I hope he reads this.
Do you know where he lives?
I think he lives in New Haven.
Connecticut, huh?
Right. might have heard of, he was in a band with Bob Greenlee. He used to be with Root Boy Slim, Second Change Band.
Sure. I remember Root Boy.
I'm not sure if Shepley was in that band or not, but I know Greenlee was, and usually where Greenlee was, Shepley was.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think he's doing much at all now. It's been years. I remember one of the first few gigs that the Allman Brothers played. We played in New Haven, and sure enough, Shepley and Greenlee were both there. And Duane was just, you can knock him over the feather, man. It was great.
How did Shepley spell his name? Do you remember?
Shepley.
Okay. Was Greenlee another guy who played with Duane when he was young?
Right, he played in the House Rock.
Oh, I see. What were your other early professional experiences, your bands? Like up leading into Hourglass?
Well, we had, after I got out of high school in '65, we had a band called the Allman Joys.
Did you do much touring?
Touring?
Yeah.
I don't know if you could call it that. We did what you call it, Chitlin circuits. You know, Mobile, Alabama, at the Stork Club. You know, just those, we worked like 7 nights a week, 6 sets a night, 45 minutes a set.
Wow.
4 of us, we made 444 a week.
Was it unusual for a white band to be playing the Chitlin circuit?
Sorry?
Pardon me?
What did you say?
Was it unusual for a white band to be playing the Chitlin circuit back then?
Oh, no, the Chitlin circuit is just, that means just the clubs, you know, beer joints.
Oh, I see. Did the Allman Joys ever record?
We recorded one song, 145. Recorded at Bradley's Barn in Nashville, which is now burned down.
What was the song?
Spoonful.
Uh-huh.
Willie Dixon.
Did you sing it?
I sure did. And it was a terrible recording.
Yeah. After the Allman Joys, you came into Hourglass?
After the Allman Joys, one of them got drafted, and one of them chose to go his own way. And so Duane and I met up with Johnny Sandlin and Paul Hornsby and Pete Carr. And they had a band called 5 Minutes. And we formed a band, and we called it the Allman Joys for a while. And we thought, well, that's wrong. So for a very short time, we called it the Almanac. And then Bill McEwen came through St. Louis where we were playing. That's Johnny McEwen of the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. This is his brother, older brother. And they took us to L.A. And they came up with the name Hourglass.
Oh, I see. How do you view your period in L.A.?
That period with the Hourglass?
Yeah.
It was pretty scary, you know, because I'd never been past Mississippi. I'd been to New York once. And I don't know, it just seemed like it was forever away. And we didn't play much, you know. There was, for some reason, there was no clubs or anything around there to play in. I mean, there was, but our first gig was with the Doors.
Wow.
At the, I guess it's Aquarius Theater now. At that time, it was the Hullabaloo Club. And that scared me to death. I could barely sing. My knees were knocking together. Because, there must have been 2,000 people in that place. And the whole thing just kind of turned sour. Both albums came out, you know, and they'd hand us a wash tub full of demos and say, pick out your new album, you know.
Wow.
And at all this time now, I was songwriting. I did get a few on those 2 albums, but I don't know if you've heard those albums or not. But
Yeah, I got a. Are these the ones with like Out of the Night on it, Power of Love?
yeah, right.
Right. Yeah, they're still selling them.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Mm-hmm.
But finally, well, in the beginning, like when we were in St. Louis, and I made this proposition, I said, no, let's don't go. Duane said, yeah, let's go, let's do it. And so we went. And after we'd been there, I guess we were there for, 67, 68. We were there part of 66, about 2.5 years, and Duane finally said, man, I've had it. This bullshit. I'm leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we take the band going back home, where we belong, back down south. And we owed Liberty Records about $40,000. And they said, well, we'll let y'all go, but, I'll put a lawsuit on you. But we won't do it if he stays, pointing to me, right, to work with our studio band. And so I stayed. And the rest of them, they really didn't like it, I mean, they were almost cussing me on the way out the door, They thought, I wanted to stay out there, which I did not. So there was no lawsuit. I cut 2 records with them, with their big 20-piece orchestra. I hope you never heard those.
No, I don't. I haven't.
But please don't.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so I stayed out there another 11 months, and that's the longest, I guess, I'd ever been away from my brother. And that's when I wrote Cross the Bear, and I was staying with this chick. She was really running me around. I wrote Black-Hearted Woman while I was out there. And, so anyway, one Sunday morning, he called me on the phone, and he said he had this band together, and 2 guitar players, 2 lead guitar players. I thought, well, that's weird. He said, 2 drummers. I said, that's real weird. And a bass player. And he said, but everybody's, pretty much into their acts, and nobody has yet written much, and they don't really like to sing. So why don't you come on down here and round this thing up and send it somewhere, which is probably the finest compliment he ever gave me in my life. And I said, let me hang up the phone, man. I got to get going. I beat Fee over there as fast as I could to Jacksonville. That was the Allman Brothers started. It was March 26, 1969.
It's amazing to me the difference in the sound between the Hourglass stuff and the first Allman Brothers album. It's just like completely different people almost, as far as the musicianship.
It is. I mean, it's been a long time since I've heard any of that Hourglass stuff, but when I hear it, I can't believe it.
Now, in between all this time, Duane was playing with Muscle Shoals.
Right. He was the staff down there, recall.
Did he ever mention what his favorite projects were there?
He liked to play with Wilson Pickett, I know that. And he loved playing with Aretha. And he loved King Curtis. They
Yeah?
were real tight. Yeah, and he loved the Herbie, man. He liked all of them. Man. I think Layla was probably his favorite.
What did he have much to say about working with Clapton?
Oh, yeah.
Can you recall any of it?
Oh, yeah, I was there when it all happened.
Oh, yeah?
Our whole band was there. See, we were playing in town. Clapton came out to the gig.
Was Duane nervous?
Scared him to death. He came and sat right down in front, right on the grass. Of course, Clapton, every time you see him, he looks different. And I didn't notice him until toward the end, and I got shaky myself. And Dowd was with him. Duane asked Tommy if it'd be all right if he came and watched, part of the session. And Clapton said, "Watch? Hell, I won't play."
Wow. How many, were you there when they were like recording Layla and stuff like that?
I was there for part of the first of it, and I had to go back up to Macon, and I came back down to the end of it, and at one point of it, towards the end, we all got in there, both bands, did a real long jam. Got it on tape. It's like a medley of blues songs.
It sounds to me like Clapton kind of pushed Duane into really playing kind of beyond what he was playing before then. Would you say that was accurate?
Duane liked that. He always said, "I like somebody on stage kicking me in the ass, so I'll do better," which I like myself.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems to my ears that a lot of the parts on Layla, the album, are Duane's rather than Clapton's.
Got that right.
Yeah,
I wouldn't print that, but you got it right.
Well, stylistically, you can tell.
Well, that song itself, he's got 12 tracks of it on there.
On Layla? Yeah, because in one point, in like, Why Does Love Got to Be So Sad? Yeah. Sometimes it's real hard to tell it apart, and then all of a sudden the Joy to the World lick comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Which was Duane's trademark. At least he used it another time.
Oh, yeah.
When you got the Allman Brothers Band together, some of the press called Duane the father of the band. Would that be an accurate thing to say?
That'd be real accurate.
How much musical direction did he provide for him?
He had to do with a lot of spontaneity of the whole thing, Like, he was like the mothership, right? And he's like, just somehow he had this real magic about him that would lock us all in and we'd all take off. Yeah, he really had that quality.
How much time did the band spend playing together before, say, the first album?
Oh, we used to play every day. Because the first album, they said, you all got 2 weeks. Get in there and do it and get out.
Is that right?
Yeah, we cut that out in 2 weeks.
Boy. What was the first big break for the brothers?
When I got together. Because, he always felt, that, and I learned from him that, if you lay down the sound, if it's a hit in your heart, man, it's a hit. I don't care how many it sells or how many likes it or whatever. Play what you want to play and stick to your guns. That's how we got out of playing top 40 stuff, That's probably what started me writing songs. He was really that way about it, he did his thing, and if you like it, fine, and if you don't, fine.
Did Duane take stardom very easily?
Well, real, heavy stardom. I don't think we had let's see. He was pretty shy about that sort of thing, he didn't like that, no, he didn't, he was just one of the gang, man. Just same dude that hung around with Shepley and shot pool, He thought about it the same way I do. Just another person.
What did he think were the or do you think were the best representation of his live and studio sounds with the Allman Brothers? Do any cuts come to mind?
The best things he did? Man, I like them all. He did some incredible things on one studio, but Mountain Jam. Please don't keep me wondering. I think a good slide on that. Let me see. Survival. And things like Leave My Blues at Home. I know what. Dreams. He did one hell of a job solo on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes in that solo, I can hear it on that Boz Scaggs album. And at the end of Layla, he did that real high thing. Almost sounds like birds in the distance.
That's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah. How did he do that?
He put the bottle way up there by the top pickup. Like on those two strings.
Did he have any unusual recording methods?
They changed a lot. Like now, Muscle Shoals, I think you take like a pressed amp, just turn it on full blast, you know, covered with baffles. And he was always working with guitars and fuzz basses and everything like that. And he threw all that crap away and, got the right amp, for the right sort of thing. And like when he started working with Marshalls, he found out that 100 was not it. So he used 50 cabinets.
Did he play real loud?
Yeah.
Did he play? Was he usually standing up when he played?
Oh, yeah.
What was the difference between his playing on records and what he did when he was by himself or just messing around? Did he play in any styles that never got on record?
Yeah, he did a lot of country blues when he was by himself, Steel Body National or, Dobro, something like that. A lot of times he'd go in the bathroom, with his towels. I think I got a picture of him leaning against the sink. You can see the toilet there, and the toilet paper roll.
Yeah.
Sitting there with a Les Paul. You can hear it, Great picture.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, y'all might have one. I don't know. I got one. Dickey's got one.
Is that the one that was in that anthology booklet?
Yeah.
I think there's a picture.
Right.
Yeah. What were Duane's favorite guitars?
Well, for a long time he played Telecaster with a Stratocaster neck. And
What period was this, Greg?
this is during Hourglass. And Allman Joys, he played a 335. And then he got a Les Paul. He loved that Les Paul. And an old SG he played slide on.
Did he play slide on the Les Paul as much?
No, not at all.
Just on the SG?
Right.
The Les Paul, is that the one
I might be wrong about that. I mean, a couple of times he might have, Dickey could probably tell you more about it.
I've heard that Les Paul, his favorite one, belonged to Christopher Cross before Duane got it?
I don't know anything about that.
Oh, okay. Billy Gibbons told me that story. I don't know if it's accurate or not. Where are Duane's guitars now?
Oh, I've got some of them. Dickey's got some of them.
The one that Twigs Linden had?
Yeah.
Is this story right? He traded a car for it?
Yeah, I traded it to him for a car. See, guitars I play have to have a wide neck on them. And that particular Les Paul had a narrow neck on real close. This is off the record, but I think Twig's mama, I guess you heard about Twig.
Yeah.
She's got it. She wants to send it back to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that she's got it now.
And she got an old B. Gibson, 1929 J200. That's the oval hole with an arch top. I've got that one.
What happened to his National?
One that's on Dickey Betts' cover.
Mm-hmm.
Dickey's got it in his living room.
Oh, I see. Who are Duane's friends like after, through the end of his life? Who were his best friends?
Oh, John Hammond. All of us, of course. He hung out with us a lot. And, you mean like musician friends,
Or personal friends?
Well, King Curtis until he, got killed. Johnny Sandlin.
I interviewed Hammond for this story, and
Yeah.
he had some beautiful stories to tell him.
He's a beautiful man.
He is, boy. He got so sad he was crying by the time we were done talking.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a little choked myself.
Yeah. Was Duane hard to work with?
Not at all.
Yeah? I know if I had to be in a band with my brother.
No, it wasn't brothers then.
No?
I mean, it wasn't brothers as you would think brothers,
Yeah.
It was, like he really respected, what I did, and I respected what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And together, he used to stand lean next, right against the organ. And one thing he did, he hardly ever looked down at his guitar. He played,
Mm-hmm.
slide, which is how he did it, I don't know. He just knew where he was going, I guess. And he'd look back at me and make me sing harder, man. I loved it. But every time I walk up on the stage, I still feel like he's standing right there next to me.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I imagine the spiritual connection's still real strong.
Very. There's not a day that goes by I don't think of Brother Duane.
What was Duane like outside of being in the band and outside of music?
He was pretty quiet, homebody. He liked to bass fish. And, he wasn't very much a sportsman at all.
Did he play a lot in his spare time?
Oh, yeah.
No,
Listen to music all the time. All the time. Anytime you walked into his house, you heard music playing.
did he have a big record collection?
Oh, yeah.
Well, did Duane ever get married?
No.
Now, I read in, once again, Rolling Stone, that his guitar that Twiggs was going to give to his daughter. Did you read that? As before Twiggs died, the story came in that Twiggs was broke and somebody offered him $15,000 for the guitar, and he refused to sell it because he thought it should go to Duane's daughter.
No, I don't think so.
No.
What would she have done with it? I think he would have given it to a musician.
Yeah. Did Duane?
What's going to happen?
Pardon me?
Which is probably what's going to happen.
Yeah. Did Duane ever say what he wanted his legacy to be?
Sorry?
Did Duane ever say what he wanted his legacy to be? What he wanted to be remembered as?
No, he never talked much about dying.
How did you view the period of the band when he was in it?
Very happy days. We didn't have much money. Matter of fact, Duane had a substantial amount, from sessions. But nobody was rich. But we didn't care because we were playing that music, we'd come up with a new song, and when a new song is born in rehearsal, that's why I like rehearsal just as much as I do recording, just as much as I do playing live. Because when a new song hatches out and it works and clicks, man, it's like Christmas time,
Do you have any favorite memories of Duane or visions of him?
Yeah, he was one hell of a cat.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you want to cover, Gregg?
Oh. Only that I think his music will live on a long, long time.
I agree with you.
And I'll support it as long as I'm around.
A few months after the Duane Allman Special Issue came out, Gregg called to say that thanks and to tell me that he'd given a copy to their mother, who kept it proudly displayed on her living room table. Of all of the dozens of cover stories I wrote for Guitar Player, the October 1981 Duane Allman issue has always ranked high among my favorites. Before signing off, I want to express my thanks to the Southern Folklife Collection and my co-producer, Nick Hunt. This podcast is copyright 2022 by Jazz Obrecht. All rights reserved. Thanks for listening.